Is Keith going to work on trying to get him live?
Yeah, we live now. We're going to try to get it. But hey, great Golden Gopher fans. Welcome to Golden Dunkers Live. I'm your host, Eric Harris Jr., a.k.a. the defensive specialist. We had a special treat for y'all. We had technical difficulties with my brother, Bobby Jackson and Courtney James. But guess what? Still have a star on the show, Mr. John, the strongest man I ever played with, Thomas. What's going on, JT? This is the Final Four edition. What's up, JT? How you doing, my brother?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. It's just a pleasure and an honor to have you on the show. You're my brother, man. I was hoping that we could get Courtney and Bobby on. Maybe they will still come in, but you know I love you, man. You're a special person in my life, man, and I just want to publicly thank you, brother, for allowing me to be your point guard, for, you know, helping me out and looking out for your brother in the present time and all the things that you've done for me in the past. So I just want to say I love you and I appreciate you, brother.
Well, of course, my man. It's always a little weird for me to put a camera in front of my own face, you know, but when the camera's actually on me, I really don't have an issue with it. But yeah, you know, one, thank you. I think that the special times that we had really came from a place of just genuine spirit, and you know what you continue to do, and in your new chapter in life. I'm glad that you made the trek back to Minnesota. So obviously the deep and meaningful conversations that we'll have around, you know, the second life, if you will, just continue to need to happen. So keep pushing, man. You know, glad to be a part of anything that you want to be a part of. So appreciate the time.
Yes, sir. This just in. Thank you, JT. I think we have our brother Bobby Jackson back. He was just there.
Let's test your tech skills, E.
My tech skills are on zero, JT. You know that. So I'm struggling right now. But as I said earlier, this is a special Final Four edition. What we accomplished in 1997 has never been duplicated. Think about that, JT. 22 years, the Gophers have not been back to the Final Four. I'm not happy about that, but it's just the reality. So how are you feeling right now? This is your backyard with the Final Four here. We're going to get into some different topics and some subjects, but how do you feel with the Final Four being in your backyard, brother?
It's great. I mean, obviously, from our time from 22 years ago, a lot has changed. So it's been good to see a lot of familiar faces in town, the electricity and the atmosphere in this new age of Final Four with social media and so much you know, digital influence around. I'll be Jack. What's up, sir? Can you hear us?
What up, man? What's going on?
Going on? Sorry to cut you off, JT. We have Mr. Bobby Action Jackson in town. What's up, BJ?
Not much, man. What you guys up to?
Man, we were just talking about the reality, Bob, about 22 years ago, that special run that we went on in 97. It has never been duplicated one time since we did it. We both said that we don't like that fact, but it's a reality, man. He was just touching on how he felt about the Final Four being in his backyard. But how you feeling, BJ?
Man, I'm feeling good, man. I think the one thing I would say is, you know, it tells you and shows you what type of talent we had on our team and the special guys and the coaching that we had for it to be 22 years and that team, the University of Minnesota, hasn't been back to the Final Four or the Sweet 16 or the Elite Eight. So it says a lot about us as basketball players. It says a lot about the coaching staff, that we've continued to set something up in the long run that hasn't been broken or hasn't been done yet.
How you feel about that, JT?
Yeah, I mean, I think really it's really a testament to our character. I mean, at the end of the day, we had a talented team, and we all know the practices that we all went through together in learning each other's tendencies. But that was one thing that coach really instilled in all of us. And when it comes to assembling a top team, it's of course talent is something that you need, but at the end of the day, character and our willingness to fight through adversity and through all the challenges that we had as a whole, I think really speaks volumes to who we were as people, not just basketball players.
I agree 100%. It was a special season. But before we get into the particulars of the season, I think it's appropriate to talk about the man that's the common thread between all of us, Coach Clem Haskins. Coach, as we all say, he wasn't just a coach, he was a father figure. He pushed us, he challenged us. But having that mindset, they always say the players follow the temperament of their coach and the personality of their coach. And I think, that was so true with us. What do you feel about that? Let's talk about Coach Haskins.
Well, who do you want to go to first? Bob, go ahead and start. Bob, you're the old man, so I'm going to go ahead and let Age go speak first. So,
Well, the crazy thing about Coach Haskins, man, I think, people ask me why I went to the University of Minnesota. And number one, they recruited the heck out of me out of JC. And number two, I wanted to play for a black coach and somebody who was going to push me, but also guide me into the future of being a young black male in our society. He did so much for me as a young man. He was hard, he was stern, he was direct. But like you said, Eric, he was that father figure that a lot of us young players we didn't have in our life, and he set that role model up for us. How to do things the right way, how to be a professional, how to go to class, how to be on time, how to carry yourself 24/7. And he was one of those guys that was very instrumental in my success as a young basketball player at the University of Minnesota, but also throughout my NBA career.
JT?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's we all talk about it all the time. The impact that the coach had on us is really immeasurable. Everything from not understanding who you were, you don't realize who you become until it's all said and done. And when you get a chance to see Coach Haskins years later, and you look upon who he was and what he meant to you, everything and how he conducted himself, the simple nuances of making sure your string on your shorts are tied when you cross that line, that you're ready to essentially go to battle, as he would say. He automatically created that mindset in all of us, where it was the we before me type of approach. One of the things I really loved about him was how, if anyone tried to feel like they were stepping outside of their role, he would line us up famously on the baseline and say, and literally point out to you, son, you have no chance. You're going to work a 9 to 5. Okay, you might have a chance to play pro, so on and so forth. So I think understanding roles on a team is really, really important. And as the captain of the ship, he was the consummate professional and the gentleman that you still see today. And those are the key lessons that I think we all took away from him as well.
Amen. I love Coach, man. I got a chance to see him a couple days ago. I haven't seen him in about 20-something years.
Mm-hmm.
So listen, y'all know, man, when you see him, it's just a feeling that comes in, that you feel, and it's like it's amazing because the man is special.
Mm-hmm.
The things that he did for us on and off the court, he just cared. He was in the community doing things here in Minneapolis. So the man stood for something. And like you said, JT, he wasn't afraid to tell you what your role was. I know you hated it. I hated it. He used to, son, you don't shoot the ball unless Bobby gets a touch first. Sam, John, you don't shoot it. Then if we swing it around, then you might get a shot. Like, it was humbling, but like you said, man, you had to respect them. And Bobby was the only dude that I saw tattooed out, earrings, everything. And Coach didn't see anything because he just respected Bob. That was the first person I seen get away with that.
Yeah, and Bob, if Bob had a bad game, he was definitely reminded, son, see, you shoot, you didn't make shots because you got earrings in your ears, son. You got all them tattoos.
Coach, man. The one thing about Coach, man, like, man, I think we've all been through this. Like you said, Eric, defining roles. I think basketball in today's society coaches have gotten away from defining what those players' roles are, teaching them the fundamentals of the game, being hard and stern on them. But coach, he coached us hard, but guess what? He loved us even more harder. And I think that's the one thing that's getting away from just AAU basketball, high school basketball, college basketball, and pro basketball is just being able to teach the game the right way. And I think that's one thing that coach really, really impacted our lives and taught us how to do. And I the things that he said and the things that he's done for me, I still take that unto till today. Just still working with professional athletes and teaching them and trying to talk to them how to be a pro is because of things that coach taught me. You can't be as demonstrative as coach was back in the day with the young guys. So you just got to try to find a different approach to get these kids going. But he impacted everybody's life that's on this live feed right now.
Yes, we love you, Coach Haskins. Thanks for everything you did. And we cannot forget about Miss Haskins, the integral part that she was in helping to groom us and help build us as young men. Those famous Miss Haskins dinners. Oh, my God. Miss Haskins threw down. So thank you, too, Miss Haskins. So, Bob, I was basically talking to JT, and I thank JT for, allowing me to be his point guard. I thank you for allowing me to be his point guard and the things that you did to help me in the past and you currently do. I appreciate you, brother. You guys can't hear me now.
You can't hear him. He over there.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this shows the type of dad that Bobby Jackson is. He's currently at his 10-year-old daughter's basketball game. So Bob is a great dad. JT is a great dad. And thank you for your time, fellas, because I know you have. Oh, look, hey, how you doing? How you doing? So cute, man. So Bob, you couldn't hear me, but I basically said I want to thank you for allowing me to be a point guard and for the things you did for me in the past and you can continue to do. I appreciate you, brother.
Oh, no problem, man. That's what brotherhood is about. Looking out
for each other. Life. Yes, sir. Bro. So let's get
Bob, you weren't on either at the time too, and I really want to thank you for probably stealing 2 to 3 rebounds every time I'd go to box out.
Oh yeah, that's what I did.
So thank you for being the thief that you were to come in and steal the rebounds that would take my rebound average below. So I really love and appreciate you for that, man.
It's all good, man. Anything a brother can do to make himself look good, I'm gonna do it.
Coach used to be like, and I can't, I can't use profanity on the show, but he was like, you little guys, get back on defense. Bobby is the only guy that could go in there and battle with those big guys. You remember he used to always say that, y'all other little guys, y'all get back. So Bobby could go down and get back.
Yeah.
Hey, get out my way.
Get out of the way. Hey, so let's get into the season, fellas. And I think that before we could talk about 1997, we have to talk about 96. Because 96 was important in terms of we started bonding, we started gelling, and correct me if I'm wrong, we won our last 6 out of 8 games, or 7 out of 8 games, something like that. We went on a run at the end of the season. Unfortunately, we didn't get selected into the tournament, but 96 was important to 97. Can y'all speak on that?
Was that the year that we lost to Tulane in the NIT?
Yes, sir. Yes,
sir. That's when I got dunked on real bad, and I tried to come back and dunk on him. Yeah, that was Gerald Honeycutt. That was I think that was
game right now, bro.
You're all good. So go ahead and mute yourself, then, Bob.
4.7 seconds.
Okay. I think that was also the year where we played the likes of Cincinnati, for the first time, because I think we played them the following year, if I remember correctly. Maybe I'm wrong, but those were character games for us to understand kind of the measuring stick for who we were as a team, and I think that following summer, we spent a lot of time together. And really, in the gym, whether it's through individual workouts, team workouts, and you know how coach was, you only got a chance to really spend a little bit of time at home, but he understood that in order to cultivate the true essence of family and team, you had to be around each other. So that's what I remember. I think most about that season was the sting and the pain of not achieving the goals that we had set out for ourselves, but even the fire and determination that we had. I mean, you remember the 5 a.m. workouts that we had, whether it was in a weight room or running. We all were committed to kind of getting us into the right position.
Bob, you there, Bob?
Yeah, I'm here.
How much time, man? Give us a breakdown. Put your analyst hat on. What's going on?
What you say?
Give us your analyst breakdown. What's going on, man? 30 seconds left.
Hey, it's 1.4 seconds, 33-33. We got an intense game going on right now with some 10-year-old little girls. It's been like 20 jump balls, girls scrambling on the floor right now. So we got the ball. We got the ball 1.4 seconds. We're going to see if we can come out with this win right now. I'm going to kind of tune you guys in to what's happening right now.
Oh, okay.
Overtime.
That's overtime. That's overtime.
Hey, Bob, that had to be your daughter diving on the floor. That was your daughter?
No, that wasn't Bobby's daughter. Bobby's daughter wouldn't dive on the floor.
Went into overtime.
Okay.
Bobby's daughter wouldn't dive on the floor. Like daughter, like father, right? She's gonna stand out at the perimeter, try and take some shots, go in and steal the rebounds.
She just started. She only been playing about 2-3 months. But let's
That's
get
great,
back on
man.
to the. I had to pop in and see how the end of the game was unfolding.
So do you let her coach? Oh, go ahead, JT.
No, I was gonna catch him up. 96 season, Bob. 96 season. What was that special about it for you as we went into the 97 season?
Oh man, I think that the one thing that I remember about the 96 season is, we started off kind of rocky. I got hurt. And then, we made a push at the end of the Big Ten season. And we won some games in a row. And we kind of came up short, but we didn't make it to the NCAA tournament, which I think that motivated us for the 97 season. And we had a chip on our shoulders. And we wanted to prove everybody wrong that we should have been in the NCAA tournament. And we came back in 97. I think everybody worked on their game. We was older, we was mature, we kind of gelled together. I think that's probably the best team that I ever played on, as far as the chemistry that we had and that we bestowed upon it, but also the coaching that we got. It was tough coaching, it was tough love, but coach also allowed us to grow as individuals. But it wasn't one player's team. But that was the one thing that I try to preach, regardless of how talented you are as an individual. He kind of coached us up to everybody had a role and no one man was bigger than the team. And I remember when we was in the Sweet 16, I'm walking off the floor. He was like, "Son, you ain't gonna mess this up for me. Sit your butt down. Sit your butt down." We playing UCLA, and I got a little attitude, and he kind of checked me real quick. He didn't say it that nicely though.
Yeah.
He didn't say it that nicely. So that was the one thing that I can respect about the 96 season, the grind that we had to endure in 96 to get to 97 and go through those rough patches and the ups and downs of that season.
I agree, Bob. And like you said, the disappointment of 96 motivated us. That summer, he had us working on our game, playing pickup. For those that don't know, a pickup game for Coach Haskins wasn't an easy situation. It wasn't everybody was just going to take it easy and coast during the pickup game. No, you had to play hard, 94 feet pickup. It was physical. Our pickup games were intense, JT.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and actually, especially that last year for me, my senior year, I remember they were kind of the talk of the town. You had a lot of the top players that would show up in their off seasons and try to get runs with us. And I remember specifically, Coach Haskins coming down on a number of occasions and making sure that, hey, my Gophers get run over everybody. It's a priority. He wanted to make sure that we were playing together and gelling together and that we had each other's backs because he certainly did.
I remember the Khalid Amin story. We were playing pickup somewhere, and I think Khalid got into it with Russ or something, and
Yep.
You know, we let them handle it. We didn't really step in. Then I forget if it was that same day or the next day. Coach was pissed. If y'all ever let somebody come in here, and he went off. He went off on us. But that was just Coach Haskins. Like, he didn't play, man. He was intense 24/7. 24/7. But 96 was important. Shout out to Courtney and Sam and Miles and Quincy, Trevor. Who else am I missing? Charles Thomas. Shout out to all those guys.
Don't forget Jason, Jermaine, Aaron Stauber, the very super duper famous. Nobody knows where he is. Play Hosea. Hosea, where you at, man?
Where is Hosea? Bob, that was your guy.
I don't know where he at, man. It was my guy. I don't know what. Hello.
It's Bobby
How you
Jackson.
doing?
Can we get a picture with you so I can show my husband?
Sure.
So JT.
Yes.
So 97, start off non-conference preseason. One thing that stands out in my mind is San Juan. We went to Puerto Rico. And I think that was a big moment for us. We gelled, we came together, and that's when we met Clemson for the first time. And we wound up beating Clemson. Can you elaborate a little bit if you remember that tournament and how that kind of pushed us forward?
One of the biggest things, that I remember about that was whenever we would go, right, we go to Hawaii or we went to San Juan, Coach was never about, guys, this isn't about just hang out. I mean, we did get the opportunity to get out a little bit, but the focus on the game plan, the focus on what we were trying to accomplish, the focus on school, everything that we needed to accomplish while we were there was strictly about taking care of business. And, to your point, I mean, that was our defining moment that really helped to catapult us in that season because of, the way we prepared all the way in the summer and, back into the 96 season, when we had that bitter taste, we used all that as ammunition, heading into that preseason tournament. And it gave us a good taste of, Clemson basketball, which was, probably the closest to who we were, at least, I guess, from a big man standpoint. They were as physical. You had Tom Weidman, Harold Jameson. Those two guys were tough. All they did were rebounding machines. They could score around the bucket too. And it was certainly a good test for us early on to ultimately end up facing them down the road.
DJ, do you remember that Puerto Rico? He's caught up, man. He's been to it. Yeah, when I talk to my buddy Merle Cole, John, he always says the same thing. They used to pound everybody they played against. But when they played against us, see, we were good on the perimeter. We got after it. But you, Courtney, Trevor, Miles, that's what set us apart. Like how physical you guys were, how much y'all banged the opposing big men, and that kind of wore everybody out. The guards going to the hole. You were giving that wood. That was the difference, man. You, the big guys, you, Courtney, Trevor, and Miles. I think that's what set us apart. We did it both. We were physical on the perimeter, but you guys were on the next level down low.
Well, I mean, part of it was that we were so used to, one, Big Ten basketball, which was always physical. Two, in practice really is what helped us to set the tone for games. And there are many times where we're battling. Courtney and I really didn't match up too much together as much as I did with Trevor. But I practiced hard, and it. And guys I did that all the way from my time throughout the course of the year, and that's what ultimately sets you up for those games, right? I mean, and the games were our opportunity. If you guys got beat on the perimeter, they had to come see us. Or if it was, you had people that were pressing you, I'd say, you know what, just let me set a dead water screen. Or, hey, if a dude did something, like bring him off my side, right? Because ultimately what you're trying to do is you're just trying to physically and mentally wear him down, because ultimately you're trying to win every single victory within the game.
Yes, sir. Mr. Bobby Jackson.
Yes, sir.
John Thomas and Courtney James, all your money on the table and one-on-one fight. Who you going with, man? That's a battle. I thought about that a lot. Them two
That's
big.
gonna be a wrestling match. That ain't gonna be no basketball game, bro. You got two big, strong mugs playing against each other. Hey, both of them wouldn't have got a shot off. They would have fouled each other every single
I'm
time
not talking
out,
about
or
basketball, but
even
with
in
the
the post.
hand.
So it'd have been amazing to just see
Octagon
those
going
guys
one
play
on
one on
one,
one.
man. That's what I'm talking about.
I put my money on me.
Well, of course, because you think you're a guard and you can shoot.
I might have a better jumper than you right now, Bob. Just saying.
Nah, nah, dog. I ain't even rolling with that.
So JT, what was the You're from here. You went to Roosevelt High School, correct?
Yep,
The Teddies.
you got it.
Hey, what was the recruiting process like? When was the first time that you met Coach Haskins? And a lot of people get credit for staying home, but you and Sam were probably the first ones to stay home and say that it was all right to go to your hometown university. What was the recruiting process like?
Well, one, you're taking me back to 1993, which is a really long time. But things that I remember most about that was that I was always the type of person that kind of stuck to my core principles, and uh, I credit Dave Thorson,
Right here.
a Minnesota high school basketball legend in his own right. I credit Dave Thorson with really providing me with the opportunity to create that genuine relationship. What's up, ladies?
Bob's beautiful daughter.
Come on, go outside.
So Coach Thorson, the former De La Salle coach, was the catalyst for getting you to the Gophers.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, really, what it comes down to when you're being recruited,
You can't go
it's
anywhere.
who is genuinely going to
You
take
playing
care
well.
of your basketball needs, your school needs, but more importantly, when it gets rocky, who's going to take care of your needs in life? And I just felt like the University of Minnesota had the staff to do that. Obviously, being home is where the heart is. That meant something to me as well. When it gets rocky on the inside, can you go back home? I grew up in South Minneapolis, so that wasn't hard for me. But we were assembling a great team, and that was a part of what I saw. And I look back in retrospect, I didn't know any better then. I mean, you're just a young kid that's just clueless. But all in all, it felt genuine. It felt authentic. I didn't take any other school visits. I committed and said that I was being recruited by Kansas. Um, some of the other top schools, Arizona. But I didn't. I said, you know what, this is my mind. I made up my mind. I didn't want to waste anyone's money or time, and I went.
Let's go. How about you, Bob? I saw your man Larry Davis the other day. He asked about you. I know he was the guy coming from junior college that probably got you to the university.
Yeah, my recruitment was a little bit different than everybody else. Like I said, I went to JC. Found me at the National Junior College Tournament. But I think the one thing with them, I had Minnesota, I had Wake Forest, I had Oklahoma, Cincinnati, and there was another school in there.
So Bob, you had a chance to play with the great Tim Duncan, and
Yeah,
you chose to come and rock with your boy. Hey, I appreciate
yeah,
you, man.
yeah. I actually had a chance. I went and visited. Wake Forest is like maybe 35 minutes from where I grew up at.
Right.
So I felt like getting away from home, and my living environment and how I grew up was a little bit different. I didn't grow up with a dad. Grew up in the projects. Grew up in a drug infested area. So I had a lot of success being away from home. So I thought staying away from home, I would probably achieve a little bit more success. And going back home and being around old friends that you grew up with and you ran the streets with, I just didn't want to risk that. And I had a goal that I wanted to achieve. In my recruitment, I think I went to Wake Forest. Oh, it was Indiana. Indiana recruited me. Went to Wake Forest in Minnesota. After I went to Minnesota, I didn't even take any more visits. Bobby Knight came out and came to one of my practice or came out and did an official visit with me, and he wanted me to sign right away, and he didn't even want me to go take a visit. I was like, man, I can't take a visit. He said, "No, son, I'm not gonna come in here and give you all this speech about our university. You know what Indiana basketball is all about." I said, "Yeah." He said, "But I can't." I said, "I can't come visit." He said, "No, I need an answer right now. Are you coming? Or are you not coming? Which one? Is only two." I said, "Man, I can't come visit." I asked him again. He said, "I need you to sign right now, or I'm moving on." I said, "Yo, I can't even. I'm not even gonna lie. I can't. Even, I'm not gonna sign if you can't. You ain't gonna allow me to come visit the campus and come check it out." So that was the story with Indiana and Bobby Knight. I think why I went to the University of Minnesota. I told you I wanted to play for a black coach, but Coach Haskins, out of all those coaches that recruited me, he was like, "Son, you got the ability and the potential to play in the NBA." And at that time, no other coach was saying that.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "It's going to be a long road. It's going to be tough. But if you listen to me and you take direction, I'm going to be hard on you. I'm going to let you know when you're right and when you're wrong. But if you can listen and pay attention and work your butt off, you got a great opportunity to play in the NBA." He was the only coach out of all those universities that was recruiting me told me that. And so that was a selling piece for me. But I also looked at the roster, I looked at the city, um, and everything fit me perfectly with coming to the University of Minnesota and being a part of something that hasn't been duplicated ever since 1997.
Bob, you're my brother. Don't take this the wrong way. But I remember you coming on a visit. Coaches were hyping you up. This guy, Bobby Jackson, is coming. He's the real deal. He's this, he's that. You came, and it was another cat. I think he went to Cal. I can't remember his name.
Ed
But
Gray?
after we, huh?
Ed Gray?
Nah,
Yeah.
Ed Gray was tough. It wasn't Ed Gray. But I'm like, after we played, I'm like, he's all right. You know, he's nothing special. Was I wrong? Because once you got there, man, the discipline and the work ethic that you showed on a day-to-day basis, man, I used to look at you because I thought I worked, but when I used to see you work, it was another level, man. So I was wrong on that one. But I remember that day when you came to play.
Yeah, I remember that too. I don't think I had my best performance. Uh, But I think, like you said, my work ethic, and to this day, there's always things that you say, man, I wish I would have did more. I wish I would have did more. I knew that I had to play. I knew I had to get in the gym and work because I wasn't one of those talented guards. I was a little older, so I had to really work my butt off to be successful on the floor. Regardless of how I played doing pickups, and on those official visits when you play pickup basketball, and it was one of those things. Back in the day, those are treasures that you would never forget. Taking those official visits, meeting guys, going out, having dinner, bonding with the guys that you potentially going to be able to play with and go on and build a life of friendships. So back in the day, that was as a young kid coming out of JC, man, that was amazing.
You hear NBA teams talk about when they get along well, that's a college type of team because they all hang out, they all care about one another. And we epitomize that. We love the one. We just all like really bought in to the team goal. So fast forward to Alabama, that loss today still hurts me. Before we go to Big Ten play, can you guys talk about the Big Ten? Because that season, there were a lot of firsts. Winning at IU, beating Michigan at Michigan, like that was a special Big Ten season.
Bob, go ahead, please, sir.
I don't know if you guys remember
At Purdue, we won. At Purdue, we won on the road everywhere.
You guys remember when we lost to Alabama? Before we left, I don't know if you guys remember. As coach went around, he was calling everybody out, and he was riding me the whole practice, bro. Like he was on me big time. And so my mindset wasn't right once we left that practice. Cause he was asking everybody, "You guys ready to go down to Alabama and kick some ass?" I was like, he went around and asked everybody. I was like, then he got to me. Everybody, yeah, coach, we ready. Then he asked me, because he had been on me all day. You know me, I'm gonna be a smart butt. I'm gonna be a smart butt. He's like, Bobby Jackson, you ready to go to Alabama and kick some butt? I was like, I guess. Oh man.
I remember. I
He's
remember
like,
that.
he said, I guess I'll kick your butt. Man, I remember that till this day. And so, those are things that you'll never forget, but it allows you to grow as an individual, but also achieve greatness when you're being coached hard, but also being held accountable as a young man. And I think that's the one thing that Coach did for each and every one of us is hold us accountable during the ups and downs, losing in Alabama, but also getting us ready for the Big Ten season where we went and did something that no Gophers team has ever done before. Go in Indiana, beat Michigan and Michigan, and win the Big Ten championship outright. That's never been done before. So for us to accomplish that and achieve that, it was truly a great feeling.
JT. Yo,
Yeah,
but
it's funny.
I'm sorry, JT. How do you remember that, Bobby? Like, I don't remember that. That's crazy.
Oh, him cursing. I got cursed out on a regular basis, bro. I don't know about you, but I was I to this day I tell coach, I said, Coach, you know how hard you were on me, bro? Like he used to
Hey,
tell me I was the worst point guard he's ever seen in his life.
kid from Braxton.
Like who recruited you? Like whoever coached you in JUCO, they don't need to be coaching you no more, bro. They don't need no coach's license. Like he was hard, but he was stern. But you know what? That fueled me even harder. So when I got on the floor, like guys today, like when you get constructive criticism, they don't know how to apply it and take it out on their opponent. They sulk and they get offensive and they let it affect their game. That coach being on me, that took me to another level. I wanted to prove to the coach like I was the best player on the planet, in the league, on the team. So that fueled and motivated me to prove him wrong, but also go out and play at a high level.
JT.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about how do you remember that, we all have our own memories of
Yeah.
coach's impact and even some of his "it's your day," right? I mean, we all had them where it didn't matter what you did, you could throw the perfect pass, and if the person didn't catch the ball, it was your fault, right? And
Hold up. In practice.
right, yeah. Hold up. Or the famous when we finished with practice and he says put 60 minutes on the clock, and you were so tired you thought he said 16, but then you look up and you see that it's actually 6-0, and you're like, are you serious, man? But those moments created resiliency in all of us, and that's what kind of created that mindset. But I think to your initial question, specific to that season, the things that we're talking about that happened in practice, and the fact that Bob was as motivated as he was, and as motivated as you were, and all the teammates, and I credit even the killer bees, right? The third squad that would come out when we weren't on our P's and Q's. They would come out and just wear us out, and they would talk mess about it,
Yes.
right? So I mean, that was what kept us. And we would always, it's funny, Trevor sent the link that when we were at the Final Four to that video, and one of the things that really stuck out to me, that's when Bob talks about the difference between players today versus players when we played, was we were connecting with each other on the bus, right? Isaiah Thomas's famous quote of championships are won on the bus. we were laughing, we were talking with each other, messing with each other, having great conversations around, just character building. And nowadays, players are on their phones, they've got their headphones on, they're disconnected. So, to that point, in wrapping up your question, which was during that time, the reason why we were able to pull out in adverse moments is that, one, in moments of doubt, we had each other to pick each other up through those moments of adversity, and then the coaching staff that would will us there, or even the fans sometimes that we would gain energy from. It is a full collective effort to really pull together the right type of energy and mindset that ultimately got us there, and that's what I believe.
I gotta say something. I think here's a question for both of you guys. In the day and age that we are in right now, and I think, do you think if we had social media back then, would we be able to talk it out and be as close? Because I find social media has hindered a lot of the young kids and college athletes and professional athletes, where it hinders you at holding an intelligent conversation, but also building friendships. And that's why that's just my personal thing. Do you guys think social media has hindered the growth of relationships amongst teammates and amongst family members?
Um, like any tool, we can use it for strength or degradation. And if it's not policed in the right way, and which I think with youth basketball, in the current state that it's in, where kids are being gone after younger, and they start at such a young age where phones are given to them and parents aren't providing any structure or guidelines around it, that tool will destroy you, because the dopamine hit that you receive from getting a like, a retweet, somebody commenting positively on your page builds kind of that inner self-esteem, no different than when we would get the applause for hitting that basket. The true essence of who we are as people, man, really comes down to your point, which is they can have all the technology that they want, but we're social creatures by nature and we need each other to thrive. So yes, do I think that if we would have had social media at that time, would it have potentially destroyed us? Yes, but not with a guy like Coach Haskins. He wouldn't have had the phone. He wouldn't have had the phones in the locker room. He would have said, a no phone policy on the bus. There's a lot of different things and ways that you can actually police it. And it's sad, man. I talk to current high school coaches today, and they talk about, like, they'll go out to bowling events, and one or two frames in, the whole team's into it. But then, by the third frame, everybody's on their phone. That's not the kid's fault, right? What type of standards are you setting with your team that allows that? No different than if any one of my kids comes in and talks to me sideways. No, that's just unacceptable behavior. So you have to, as the coach, the leader, the head of household, whatever position you hold, you have to hold what's right and true, which is I care about you, and this device can definitely harm you like any tool can. So that's my opinion. Sorry for the long rant.
I agree with you. Do you guys remember when he took us to that camping trip? Not a camping trip, but we went to like a zip line place, and we were climbing trees and crossing ladders from, like, we went there as a team. I believe the assistant coaches went too, but we were there for like 4 or 5 days, just bonding and building and doing something out of the ordinary. So imagine if we had cell phones back then, or I think Bob had a pager. Bob had a beeper back then, I think. But
I didn't get my pager until I got right into my senior year, and I was like, man, I just thought I was a man. Like, oh, go ahead and just page me, bro. Page me.
But I'm so glad we didn't grow up during that time, man, because like you said, what I find with the young people I work with, they don't know how to communicate and have a conversation. Like what we're doing now, to actually talk to someone for 5-10 minutes and be verbal and communicate. They sometimes struggle with that because of their dependency, I feel, on texting, cell phone, social media. So I'm just glad we didn't have to come up through that time.
For sure. Here's what I would say. I mean, we're sitting here and comparing it back to what it was when we played, but at the end of the day, the reality of it is it's here, right? So as people who have seen and known better and have reached, I think certain milestones when it comes to kind of championship kind of quality basketball, those skill sets are directly transferable to everything you do in your life. So my thing is like let's continue to create those connections in our own community and make sure that we're passing this knowledge on. And I already know you guys do because I've seen it, right? I mean, the young people that you interact with, the adults that you exchange with, continue to be genuinely you because ultimately that's all we have. So, we have to adjust to 2019 and social media is not going anywhere. So how do we use it like in situations like this? How do we use it where we can actually make sure next time Courtney gets on? How do we get Trevor back on? How do we create something that goes well beyond our ability to talk about what happened 22 years ago, but take those life experiences and those memories that we've learned from to help other people?
Yes. Bob, how you looking for time, Bob?
I'm looking good. I got one more game. Well, she got two more games. She got a game here in a little bit at 12:15, 11:45 right now. So I got a little bit of time. Got a
Are
little
you
time.
yelling in the stands or are you letting
Nah,
the
man.
coaches
No,
go?
I'm 10. Like I yell at my daughter because her attention span is not even close. She looking over at the stands, waving at her little friend that came to the game with her. I gotta tell her, girl, you need to pay attention. Stop waving at your friend and get some rebounds and defend your man.
She's
So
10, Bob. Bob, she's 10. She
I
can't.
know,
She
but
ain't figured.
that's why I ain't
She,
yelling. I just tell her
right.
to pay attention. I don't like you can't get too I don't get too overly hyped at a 10-year-old game. I just allow her to play because she just started playing like 3 months ago. So I don't want to discourage us right now, um, and allow her to lose interest in the game. I want her to stay focused and locked in the game and instill joy and have fun.
So JT, you touched on something. Thank you, Trevor, by the way, for that link, Trevor. That was a memorable moment. Appreciate you for that. And we have to definitely get Courtney back on. But you mentioned the twins, JT. I hated them back then, man. Jason and Jermaine Stanford, they were so long. They used to block everything, dunk everything. And like you said, they used to talk so much trash, so much trash. But they prepared us, man. Without them, we wouldn't have been the team that we were without those twins and that killer bee.
It takes a full contingency to truly understand the type of goals that you're trying to accomplish. And did I think that they should have played more? Yes. Did I think that Aaron Stauber, who was the consummate pro, did I think that he should have got a scholarship and played? Micah. We had
Wow.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of people, man, that really helped to influence, our path, and they helped to push us. And at the end of the day, everyone plays a role, but I look at every single person on that team that played a significant role in who we were in our development as people and our development as players. And think about the unsung heroes, right? Roger Shipper. I remember having pneumonia. Uh, and I felt like I was gonna die, man. I literally was like, man, I'm done. I lost 15 pounds in like I don't know how many in how many days. But he was the one who was by my side when I think my parents were gone or what have you. But then my mom was doing something different. She was working, but Roger was there to take care of when my mom and my father, my brother and my sister couldn't be there. So you have so many different people that play integral, and pivotal roles in your life, and it was all of them.
Yes, Roger Shipper was the man. Thank you, Raj. Thanks for everything. Coach Bill Brown, Coach Larry Davis, Coach Cunningham. Like everybody around that team, like you said, were superstars. They played their role to perfection. So moving forward, we run through the Big Ten tournament. Through the Big Ten, and that was pre-Big Ten tournament days. Like there was a point when we didn't have a Big Ten tournament, and we won it outright at Michigan. I remember that Michigan game. Michigan has so much talent. Rest in peace, Tractor Trailer, Mo Taylor, Lou Bullock, Maceo Baskin. They had a crew. They had a crew. And I remember Mo Taylor talking trash. He was like, they're not going to win here. They're not going to win the Big Ten tournament here. But we came, we took care of business, and I'll never forget that game. Can y'all touch on that Michigan game?
Yeah, I think for me the Michigan game was tough. I mean, I had seen Maurice Taylor play. Also, I mean, big tractor trailer was going to be my matchup. Maceo Bassin was super long shot blocker. They were a tough team on the inside. Even Makchar Njai, don't forget about him. I remember him talking mess when Maceo Bastin dunked on me at Michigan. And I had a low post block move and dunked on Robert Traylor. So we were talking mess back and forth. But I mean, those are all the battles and the competitions that we had. I mean, they were just absolutely tough through and through.
How about you, Bob? You remember that Michigan game?
What you guys say?
You remember that Michigan game? We just basically talked about. That was prior to the Big Ten tournament. There was no Big Ten tournament in '97, but we won it outright in Michigan.
Oh, yeah. I do remember that.
No, nothing else, Bob?
You used to win in free throws. I used to with free throws.
Yeah, I think being able to go in Michigan and win the Big Ten tournament outright was something that, like I said, there's always going to be memories. Going to remember having the ability to do something and accomplish something that hasn't been done in the history of the program. Hitting big shots, rebounding, defending, and playing against the odds in a hostile environment. I think being able to set the tone in that game kind of allowed us to go into the NCAA tournament and be successful and play with a lot of confidence.
What Big Ten road arena? I have a question for you guys. Did you guys hate to play in the most? Mine probably was Michigan State. Michigan State was a tough place to play in. How about you guys?
For some reason, I hated Wisconsin. For some reason, I hated playing in Wisconsin. It just got to me. It didn't get to me, but it was just, the fans, the players. It was just, I guess, because of the in-state, the border rivalry. That Wisconsin was just another. That was just another rivalry that I didn't like.
I don't think I really hated playing anywhere. When I was younger, like my freshman year, we played against Michigan. And as a matter of fact, I just saw Juwan Howard yesterday when he was here with the Heat and caught up with him. But I remember he was a senior when I was a freshman. And I was intimidated because they were Fab Five minus Chris Webber. But they still had, craziness. So I didn't really hate playing really anywhere. It wasn't necessarily that the environments bothered me. As I went through on my career, my confidence continued to build just because I started playing so late. But I would look at more like the individuals of like Rashard Griffith at Wisconsin or big old Mike Peplowski. I mean, these were dudes that when I first started were, people that I had watched kind of coming up. So I didn't care as much about the arena. I actually kind of enjoyed it. I mean, there was a lot of memorable moments, but I didn't care about the arena as much. I remember Penn State before they got their big arena, how small it was in there, and the fans could literally grab you. That was kind of crazy. Yeah, that was kind of crazy. But other than that, I don't care about the arena.
Pete Lasicki, Dan Earl.
Yeah. John Amici. Yeah.
John Amici. He used to get buckets on you. Alvin Booth.
Yeah.
Buckets.
Yeah, I forgot Iowa too now.
Exactly.
Iowa, Illinois.
Yeah.
Every road game was tough in the 10, but it still is, but back then it really was.
Nah, it ain't.
Really.
Man. You got Nebraska, Rutgers. Come on, bro.
No, you're right. You're right. That's a little different.
We got some slaw walking around the Big Ten right now.
Yeah, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, it's way different. Even now, it's just way between schools, and it's the changing of the guard. When you got more schools, um, more television coverage. I don't know. Going back, the facilities are immaculate. Everything, went to the U and seen the $130 million football and practice facility, unlimited food supply. Like, we used to figure out how we was gonna eat our next meal. These dudes got everything. They ain't got they can eat 24/7 nonstop. And I know, John, that was right up your alley, baby. Eating that fried
Man,
chicken.
what?
I know,
Right.
John. Stay away from the fried chicken, son. Stay away from the fried chicken.
Now, he's a
Hey,
snack.
what?
For those that don't know, JT was my roommate. His nickname was the Snack King, because he used to always come out Snack King.
Yeah, we'd be on the plane and I'd be like, yeah, can I get like 3, 4, 5 bag of peanuts or whatever? And Coach Haskins look at me and be like, son, 2 bags is enough. Nah, but Bob, you're right. The thing is, part of our hunger came from our adversity and not having things. When now it's become the gold standard, right? I always say that the shiny penny keeps getting shinier, because really what they're used is the recruiting tools, right? Like, hey, look at our facility. But no matter what, when it comes down to it, it always is going to be the people and the values that they have to really drive against, what type of behaviors are acceptable, and then how do you reward them for the type of behaviors they demonstrate. So it certainly is true. I mean, obviously you see Athletes Village and the things they've been able to accomplish, and it's certainly an awe-inspiring facility. But the magic is and always will be in the people that are within those buildings.
All the gear they get now. JT, would you wear the long leggings if you were playing now, or you
Nope.
gonna wear the leggings? No
Nope.
leggings? How about
I would want to show my quads off and how hard I could squat 500 and whatever pounds I squat.
How about you, Bob? Long leggings or what?
Bob was definitely long leggings
Yeah, I'm definitely long leggings.
because he had long socks.
Yeah, I'm definitely long leggings.
Where did the high socks come from, man?
Cause it was freezing out there, bro. It was cold outside. You act like we was playing in Florida. We was playing in Minnesota, bro. I had to figure out a way to keep warm, man. And so that's where the long sock thing came from. I just I tried to figure out a way to just stay warm, man. At the end of the day, and it just followed me from college to the NBA, and I just stuck with it.
Perfect transition. Talked about the NBA. We're gonna get back to the tournament in a minute. But both of y'all were drafted in '97. Bob, you were drafted by the Nuggets, right?
Yeah.
JT, you were drafted by my home team, the Knicks. Can y'all touch on that a little bit? How it felt to be drafted? This is your moment, something you worked so hard for.
Bob, go first because you were drafted 23rd and I was drafted 25th, and again, you're older, so go ahead.
I think the one thing, what really, in that draft, the one thing that stood out for me, and I had to be there, it was in Charlotte, North Carolina. So just having that ability to be in front of my family, my friends, and to walk across that stage. If I would have went second round, I still was gonna walk across that stage, because growing up where I come from and the projects, and having a dream of making it to the NBA, I think that's the one thing that's missing. Kids don't appreciate how lucky we are to walk across the stage, but to play in the NBA, where millions and millions of athletes want to get to and accomplish every single year. So regardless of that, I think that was the one thing for me. Being in Charlotte, had to go there and represent and walk across that stage and make sure that my mom seen me and my childhood friends too, but also just celebrate um, that great moment.
Bob, you know what's so funny, man? So you and I, we sat kind of close together
Mm-hmm.
that night, and we never, not a single shred, have ever talked about what happened that night until this moment. And the funny thing is, this is how I know when you have that type of mindset amongst the team and why we were successful as a whole, is that we were grateful.
Oh
And
yeah.
gratitude in a moment like that. And for me personally, I was hearing everything from you're potentially going to get drafted in the first round all the way to you're not going to get drafted at all. So my mindset was, I, if I have the ability to go and they will provide me with a seat, I want to go and see what it's like, because I just went through 18 different workouts for 18 different teams, and I have the opportunity potentially to have my name called, and all the things that I didn't have really the dream of playing in the NBA until kind of my senior year, because I had started playing late. So for me, I'm like, with all these people that have ever been, holding my hand, or me standing on their shoulders and them propping me up, everyone from the teammates to coaches to family to friends, why would I not go? And I said, and in my mind, I looked at it as, if I get drafted, there's 0.001% of the world population that ever gets to be there. If I don't get drafted, I at least understand what it feels like to have that feeling. And I was like, I'm not going to deny myself. So I want to make sure I showed up. So that's crazy that you even think. It's not crazy, but it goes to why we were so good as a team.
That's deep, JT. That's big time. That's real deep, man. And it's refreshing to hear somebody, talk that way. So BJ, you're obviously most known for playing with those Kings teams. JT, I'm gonna get to you with a question in a minute about the league, but what was it like? You talked about the chemistry we had probably being the best in terms of teams you ever played on, but those Kings teams, BJ, were real tough, man. You don't have to comment on this, but watching those games, I felt like y'all got jerked, man. It was a conspiracy against those Lakers teams, man. That's my personal opinion, but can you touch on playing on those Kings teams?
Yeah, outside of playing at the University of Minnesota, I think playing in SAC, the chemistry that we had and the love and support the love and the support that you have for each other as professional athletes, you don't find that a lot in today's sports. I think if anybody had an event or a birthday party or emergency, we was there to support each other. And I think that was the one thing about playing in Sacramento. It kind of reminded me of my college days at the University of Minnesota, where there was like we knew who the best players were, but the best players did treated everybody the same. And whether it was Webb and Mike Bibby, they didn't feel like they was superior to anybody else in on the floor or in the arena, and they treated everybody with respect. And that's hard to find in today's sports. You find it, um, but being around top-notch all-star guys and being in an environment where guys make a lot of money, to be humble and to treat everybody the same, you don't see that a lot. And so that was a point in my life where I was like, man, this reminds me of the University of Minnesota. But going on, like after we lost those series against the Lakers, we felt like we got cheated. And there's nothing that you can do. I think we felt like we was the better team. And I think the most honest game that was ref was game 7.
B, I don't want to get you in trouble, B Jack. Don't let me get you in trouble, man.
Oh, hey, listen. You think I care about getting in trouble, E? It's just my personal opinion about, you know, when we play, everybody, when we after the series, we felt like it just wasn't me personally. We just felt like we got ramroded and we got railroaded. And at the end of the day, you know, we knew that it was a great team, and they knew we was a great team. Again, but we felt like we had a great opportunity to win, and we fought our butts off, and they end up winning. And I'm not a guy that like to make excuses, and nor am I making an excuse. But you know, the Lakers was the best team. You know, we just came up short in Game 7, and we had a chance to win that game, but we kind of shot ourselves in the foot. So you know, being able to learn and grow and see something that we was a part of and how we accomplished. Going to the Western Conference Final, and you know, no Sacramento team has accomplished that yet, and we're trying to put that back together with this young Sacramento Kings team that we have right now. So, being a part of something that creates history, but also being a part of something that's trying to replicate what you've done is also amazing. Also.
I was so proud of you, bro, and I know our brothers, everybody else was proud of you too, man. You represented us, the university, and your hometown, your family so well, man. So great job, brother. I appreciated that.
Thanks, dog.
JT, yeah, any moments in the NBA, you know I always joke with you. You know MJ's my guy. MJ's my guy, man. I think it was the opening game with the Celtics. Y'all beat the Bulls, and you know, we always laugh about that. But any moments that you remember playing in the league, any things that kind of stuck with you?
There's a ton of them. I mean, both Bob and I played. Obviously, Bobby had a longer career in the league and a more stable career. But we came in at a time where there were like the true NBA vets, and then where the new young crop of new talent came in. So we both had the opportunity to see, you know, the Michael Jordans, the Scottie Pippens, Dennis Rodmans, Karl Malone, Shaq, Tim Duncan, then LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, D Wade. You know, we were pretty fortunate to kind of see them all. So there was Yao Ming. This dude made me look and feel like, I mean, he's 7'6" and he's talking to me. I played with Yao too. So I mean, these moments, you know, for me, when I look at them, you know, they're great players, but you know, I think the most defining moments for me were really about how it helped to mold my character. You know, like I said, I had an up and down career as a whole, but those games, those seasons, those players, the coaches that we interacted with, the cities that we were in, it all continued to shape my perspective on life, and it's been a blessing across the board.
JT, you made everybody proud too, brother. Congrats and kudos to everybody that was here on this stage, man. So I was just proud of both of y'all. I know y'all time is valuable, so can we just get into the tournament real quick and the run we had going by each round. Selection Sunday obviously was a disappointment in '96, but we come back in '97 and we get selected as the #1 seed. Like, that has never been done at the university. So take us back. Do you remember Selection Sunday?
You know what? It's funny. I kind of don't. We had been through a few Selection Sundays. I don't know specifically. I might need a refresher. I just that's not really one of those moments. And because we had battled and we were so good, that was just a moment for me that was just, you know, more of a formality than anything. So I don't remember it as well as I do on the ones that actually where we didn't make it or didn't have the kind of those moments. So I'd defer to you guys or Bob.
DJ, you remember Selection Sunday, any?
What you say?
Can you hear me, Bob?
Yeah, I can hear you. What you say?
You remember that selection Sunday when we got the #1 seed in the tournament, any?
Oh yeah, for sure. That was probably one of the most exciting times in my life because we always wanted to get to the tournament. It was my first time going to the tournament, so just having the ability to go out and be around everybody, the hype around the campus and the hype around the city was amazing. Oh, Bella.
Well, let's skip the first. Oh, go ahead, Bob. You still going?
So it's just the hype around the city, but also the hype waiting to anticipate that we would be the #1 seed because it has never been done in history. The University of Minnesota was amazing, and I think once we got the #1 seed, we knew we was there with amongst the elite.
Well, let's skip the first round. Obviously, being a #1 seed, you don't want to lose that first game, but we came out and handled business. Second round was the Temple game. JT, what you know about the Temple game?
I always remember the opponents that I would have to face because I want to make sure that I took care of business. So Mark Jackson, Mark Jackson also ended up getting drafted into the league. He actually had a longer career than I did as well in the NBA. He was tough, man. Great around the bucket, physical player, liked to talk a lot. We try to play head games. He's a Philly guy. I actually roomed with him before. So, for me, it was really about just a mental game. But that's what I remember most. And of course, Coach Chaney was just like Clem Haskins in a way, old school values. You had that, their defense that was lauded. And it's one of those things where when you hear about, what you have to prepare against. But I looked at it as like, what do I need to do individually to help my team, really overcome? And that was just to try to negate everything that Mark Jackson was trying to accomplish.
We picked them apart. We got it inside to you and Courtney. You guys did work, and we played inside, outside. Bobby, Q, Sandra, everybody started making shots. You remember that Temple game, Bob?
Oh yeah, I hated Temple because they put us in. They ran a 2-3 zone the whole time.
What you snacking on, brother?
Hey man, I gotta quench. I gotta feed this big body, baby.
LBs. Bob always say LBs. You say that too, LBs. That must be a league thing, LBs. That's the first time I heard that.
Mm-hmm.
So Temple. Yeah, Pepe Sanchez. They had a nice crew, but we demolished them. We did what we had to do. Sweet 16. Who was that? Clemson? That was the Clemson game?
Come on. Yeah. The unforgettable one.
Bob had like 30-something that game. Sam had like 30. That was a double. It was crazy. Double overtime?
Yeah. So what I remember most about that was kind of two things, E. One, the fact that Ikera Iturbe separated your shoulder, and I already had beef with Ikera Iturbe already from high school because he played Totino Grace, and Totino Grace was a team that we matched up in the section finals that would allow us to go to state tournament, and they beat us because it was him and a kid named Daniel Olivan. So I was low key mad already that it was him that separated your shoulder. That was the thing that I remember. And then the other thing was just, it was kind of a continuation from San Juan, which was the bigs. We got no points, hardly any rebounds because it was just a dogfight. And that's where Bob and Sam and Q and Char and CT, really, really took care of things, man. I mean, it was important. That's where when we were just like, look, they're not going to get rebounds. We're not going to get rebounds. Y'all ain't going to let us score. We're not going to let you score. And it was an all-out physical battle. That's what I remember most.
I think that was probably the most physical game that I was part of. I can remember after the end of that game, I was so exhausted by playing so many minutes, but also running through screens. They were probably I thought we was a physical team, but they was a physical team also. And John and Courtney may not have scored a lot of points, but it was the little things that you guys did. And I think in today's NBA, most bigs don't appreciate that. Everybody feels like they got to score. you guys stay within your roles and you set screens, you rebound, you defended the post,
Mm-hmm.
and you allow the guards to dictate the pace, but also be the intricate part of the offense. And me and Sam had it going that night. It wasn't about me and Sam. It was about the whole collective effort of the team that propelled us to the Elite Eight and to play against the UCLA Bruins. And um, just because we scored 36 and Sam I scored 36, Sam scored 32, I think, you know, Eric being the point guard that he was, and most guards wouldn't even try to finish the game. Just fighting through the pain and playing through the pain, but also being that constant leader. Charles and Quincy coming off the bench and knocking down shots and being consistent. So it took a collective overall group of guys to get through that grueling, probably one of the most physical games that I've ever had the ability to play in, but also something that propelled me in my basketball career, I think, and put me at another level. And I think John so did it. It did for your career and did for Sam's career and Quincy's career. Guys getting drafted in the NBA, so that game was very instrumental in allowing us to be successful, but also shape our careers.
I feel like we were carbon copies of one another. That Clemson team and us, Coach Rick Barnes, he did a great job with those guys, and he's still successful in college basketball today. John, you got to call out the screen, brother. How you let your man screen me like that, bro?
I wasn't guarding Ike Harris. I wasn't the dude I was guarding. I was guarding Harold Weidman or Jameson. I don't do that. I communicate. Come on, E.
I'm just messing with you. But John, did you realize that you were that strong, bro? Did you realize how strong you were?
Yep.
Yeah, man. He looked at himself in the mirror every day. What you talking about, E? He putting baby oil on his muscles every single day, walking around with no shirt on, bro. That dude knew. Like, he thought he was a model, bro.
Hey, he still got his hairline though, Bob. That's one thing I wish I still got
amazing,
the hairline
bro.
and everything.
I don't know what you're doing, but you need to let LBJ get some of that hair too. LBJ, BJ, E. Harris.
All of them. You need it. Hey, y'all know it's the new thing going around now. Like barbers, guys are now getting weaves now. Like that's the new thing.
Weave.
They put implants in dudes' hair. It could be a dude like me, no hairline way back here. But they put implants in, bro. And before and after, he looks like he has fresh. It's crazy. I guess y'all didn't see it yet, but that's the new wave now.
No, I ain't. Yeah, that's over my head right there.
You gonna show E. Harris's weave shop?
Nah, I wish, man. I'm good, man. MJ made it sexy. I'm good. So UCLA. What I remember about UCLA, obviously they're the storied program, won so many championships, but they were just talking so much. We're UCLA. They can't do nothing with us. They didn't see us yet, and they had talent. Who was on that team? Toby Bailey.
Yeah.
Cameron
Dollar.
Charles O'Bannon. Jelani McCoy, J.R. Henderson.
They had talent. But they were just talking so much. So we all knew that, okay, they like to run, the finesse, Pac-10. We just knew that when they faced us, they wouldn't be able to deal with the physicality.
Well, they tried to act tough, but as we know, that ain't popping, bro. That ain't popping.
Jelani McCoy was a high flyer. You know, they're a big guy, and J.R. Henderson, those are the two bigs. And I inadvertently, me being me, I'm trying to take up space, and I hit him with an elbow in his chest, and he was out for the rest of the game.
Wow.
So then it was just from there. I mean, we had some key momentous plays that I think just put us in a different position. But I think I felt the same as you guys, right? I mean, the storied franchise of UCLA basketball, let's just say the school, really for us when we knew it, we're like, all right, West Coast basketball versus gritty Midwest. We're gonna see what happens, and ultimately that's what happened.
We going into that game as the number 1 seed. We was the underdogs, bro.
Right.
People had picked them to beat us. So I think, and we talked about it, and I think, we knew that we were, but we wanted to come out. We wanted to show we wasn't shocking the world. Like we was setting and we was making a statement. To be a number 1 seed, and this is just how I thought, to be a number 1 seed and be disrespected, like that, and say UCLA is gonna upset us because we ain't never been on that stage, and they got more talent. Like we didn't allow that to happen. We came out, we set the standard, we forced the pace, we beat them up, and it allowed us to grow and get to another step, and achieve another accomplishment, which was getting to the Final Four. And I think achieved, and we approached it, and Coach had us ready to play. I can't talk much. I can't talk. There's a lot I say, but Coach always did. He always prepared us for our opponents, and he wouldn't allow us. He wouldn't allow us to cheat the game, and he held everybody accountable. And that's a coach, and how dedicated he was and how disciplined he was, because we had to be disciplined, playing to the final. We had to play with some heart, and we had to play with some effort. So Coach always instilled that and told us to grow as young men in the Elite Eight.
Coaches always gave us a great game plan. Like, you guys don't know this story, but after that Kentucky game, which was the worst game we played all year, we had like 25 turnovers, 26 turnovers. It was bad, but we still were in that game. I know I missed the layup that would have changed the momentum. That still kills me. And I had a few therapy sessions about that Kentucky game over the years. But, so Coach brought the returning players back when you guys got drafted and went on. We sat down and watched that whole game. Like, for anyone that knows what a Coach Haskins film session is like, it was hell. Like, we went through that whole game. He was still pissed off, calling everybody out. And it was just a bad moment for all of us. But that Kentucky game, can y'all talk about that? We knew what to expect. Kentucky was Kentucky. Rick Pitino, he liked to press. Like I said, it was our worst game of the year. Any thoughts on that game?
I remember.
I think, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Bob.
Go ahead, John.
All right. I think I remember just kind of the culmination of everything. I would say that we came in and we weren't completely confident. We let and again, this is just for me looking through the lens of how we had gone through the entire tournament. And then once we got there, I think even our locker room rhetoric at halftime was just the body language. You could see it was a little bit different. So from that end, I at least tried to, being in awe of 40 to 50,000 people, you walk in and you have now, it's different, right? Because all the other places we played in, they were actual arenas. You walk into a new location and it's the RCA Dome, and your depth perception is off. So even dealing with that was a challenge. But as a whole, man, I mean, I guess I didn't look at it any differently than anything else. I mean, you got Jamal McGlure, Nazi Muhammad. They had a squad. And yeah, they had a squad, right? And for me, I looked at it as business as usual to some degree.
Derek.
Yeah,
he was hurt though.
Yeah, he was hurt, but he was on the roster.
Yeah, he was there. Ron Mercer.
Yeah, they had a squad. So I didn't watch that game probably until 15 years after the game, you know, and it was one of those things. I think part of it was that I was hurt by it, you know, on how we went out. And I just felt like, you know, when you give it necessarily our best, I mean, you only have one chance. And that's the cool thing about the tournament is like, hey, you're going to lose or you're going to win. But then beyond that, like I said, I didn't watch it for like 15 years.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
He made us watch that whole thing. And I guess his point was, you know, we're going to deal with it. Like, we stunk it up, but if we get in this position again, we're going to know how to overcome it.
Yep.
Was there trash talk? Like, so I know you saw some of those guys in the league. Well, Bob tapped out. Was there any trash talk when you saw those guys about, you know, beating us?
Oh, you know, I played for Patino. So
That's right.
that's the first thing that happened. You know, he definitely reminded me. And I was also on the team of Mercer. And was Walter McCarty on that team? Or was it prior? He wasn't on that team, but Ron Mercer was. Yeah, so and Ron was cool and he was quiet, but Patino let me know. And I remember seeing Richard Patino as a little shorty, you know, jumping on the bus and on the plane and everything. So yeah, they let us know.
22 years, JT, man. It feels like yesterday sometimes, but man, great memories. The Gopher fans, you remember how they used to come out wherever we went and support and just push us on like Gopher fans. Until this day, you've experienced it, you've been here, but now when I see Gopher fans, they remind me of how much that team meant to not just the university, but to the state of Minnesota. I remember seeing Coach Lindsey Whalen, who did a great job this year, by the way. And she said, when we had that rally at Williams Arena, she said, I remember being there, seeing you, John, Bobby, Sam, Quincy, Trevor. She said, that inspired me to not only want to go to the University of Minnesota, but to one day want to go to the Final Four. And that's exactly what that team did that she was on. So moments like that, man, just made me feel like, you know, we did our best.
Sports has a wonderful way of capturing people's attention and really building nostalgia. And it's funny, I look back 22 years later, and at the end of the day, I'll never forget them. But those are all the memories and the moments that I use to now transfer into my next life, right? I mean, as powerful as those moments were, and I understand how much they meant to other people, you know, you can't do that on the basketball court anymore. So you have to look at different ways to do it. So I was thankful and for the opportunity to create so many memories for others. And even still to this day, we still have a lot of those conversations, but it's fantastic. I got a jet. I hear daughter in the background. Really appreciate you having me on, man. You know, obviously look forward to seeing you as you know, we continue down this path, man. Anything I can do to help. Let's look at getting some more players on, and certainly I'd love to be a part of a conversation even in the future.
Definitely. JT, I thank you from the bottom of my heart, bro. You've been a great help in terms of helping me get to the next phase of my life, brother. So I appreciate you. Really quick, do you want to touch on the great job you're doing right now in the community and with the Timberwolves? You want to touch on that a little bit real quick?
Yeah, I mean, in essence, I'm the vice president of basketball development for the Minnesota Timberwolves and Lynx. Really oversee our youth and high school and adult basketball product services, and really just with the goal of being just the premier provider of development across the upper Midwest. Also spent some time working with our current players to get them to understand that there is life after basketball. And while people talk about building that plan B, I say, you know, forget the plan B, build 2 plan A's, because when the lights are on, that's when you have to really build, you know, that's your chance to really build really momentum and create the type of connections that will ultimately set you up for life after basketball. And then I'm starting an alumni program, so bringing back former players to get them to kind of retell their stories. So all in all, I've got a great team around us. I mean, obviously the team, I had a chance to play for the Wolves. But we've got great people in that franchise, you know, tons of great teammates, employees, supporters. Our fans are fantastic. You know, when you get to understand season ticket members or corporate partners or community organizations who are just a part of this wonderful community. I'm glad that I stayed. I'm glad that, I built some equity within, this market and this community. And more importantly, man, it's so not about me. I mean, this show that you have really is indicative of the type of memories that you can create within this space. And sports, whether it's professional, college, collegiate, or high school, has just the ability to transcend, and transfer the skill sets of we all have just across the board. So I'm very thankful and very grateful. Looking forward to continued growth.
Thank you, my brother. I love you. Keep up the great work. You have a beautiful family, man. And I'm gonna be bugging you and calling you Jack, man. So thank you.
Appreciate you. E. Love you too, my man. Continued success as always, man. Anything I can do to help.
Thank you, brother. Love.
Yep, love. Later, E.
All right. I just want to thank Bobby, John. Sorry we couldn't get Courtney on. Courtney will be back. We just had some technical difficulties today, but thank you to Bobby and John. Thank you to the great Golden Gopher fans. We're going to be bringing more stuff like this to you. Enjoy the Final Four weekend. Be sure to follow the Golden Dunkers on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram. Follow the Golden Dunkers on Facebook, Instagram, and we have a YouTube channel now. So if you want to see past episodes of Golden Dunkers Live, go to the Golden Dunkers page on YouTube. Thank you so much. We have fun. I am Eric Harris Jr., the defensive specialist. Remember, I always tell young people, I tell parents of young student athletes, defense is a necessity. You have to have defense. We talked to two guys today that had success on the Division I level and went on to play in the NBA. It's great to dream. If your goal is to get to the D1 level or to play in the NBA, you have to be able to play defense. If you can't defend, I repeat, if you can't defend, then you can't play on the levels that you wish to get on. So always use this slogan: anybody can score, but can you shut down your opponent? Anybody can score, but can you shut down your opponent? If the answer to that question is no, then all you have to do is call 1-833-LOCK-YOU-UP. Once again, 1-833-LOCK-YOU-UP, and I will help you and give you the answers to your test. This is Eric Harris Jr. Thank you for joining Golden Dunkers Live, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, and God bless.